The next item up is Audit and Finance Committee meeting review. One thing on there was motion coming forward regarding the payment, a salary adjustment. Arthur Gallagher as a company is bought the Fox Lawson company that we had used before. So we're still using the same individual, same company, but Gallagher bought Fox Lawson. I may be saying it. But the main reason for these, the raises, they were in particular regarding physical therapists and occupational therapists. Historically, we've been spending way above budget because what we've been paying hadn't attracted people, so we had to pay subs. And the subs were at a more than 100%. We had to pay them a premium to get them in there on an hourly rate. So this was, because we were not paying enough, we were overpaying, really. And so that's what this is coming forward.
So we were that far behind Georgetown?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Very much so behind Georgetown.
And the way behind, almost like me. Well, I know you were saving the money.
And does this need an action on it right now or no?
No.
Okay, so this is, any other questions on that one?
So this is going to the board, this is going to the board for action?
Yes, yeah.
You'll go to the board, right?
Thanks for information today.
So this is the recommended salary. Okay, the proposed is recommended what you want to go to? You want to go to the C-45?
Yes.
But you're still going to be behind. You're only maxing Dorchester County, why is that?
So the reason
Not even that.
the reason you're still behind is the classification is correct on the structure, but we're still 7% below market across the board.
So that's what I'm asking, why is that?
Because there would have to be a board decision to move the entire salary structure to the market.
So shouldn't that become a just thing?
Say that again, sir.
Instead that's what we could be looking at, something to bring it current, instead of instead of increasing it, but you still have the same problem again next year, that you're still losing the people for being the lowest paying.
Well, and Michelle, we've talked to the OTPT group. They're aware of what we've recommended. We do not want to reclassify a position simply to address the market issue. So it is properly classified.
You have to reclassify it in order to raise the pay?
And then if you reclassify it and the board does move to market, then they'll be overpaid.
So, in other words, there is a reason why you brought it to us in the form that you did and not a recommendation for something different.
Correct.
So let me take that to this then.
Over there.
That's right.
So what has to be done then to get it current with bringing up equivalent to Dorchester County, which is almost there, or in Georgetown, or in the middle?
We're more competitive with the districts that are in the Tri-County area. We do know that Georgetown, because they have difficulty recruiting talent, they pay a higher salary simply to recruit, and they attempt to retain. The HR director said he probably keeps an OTPT for about 2 years before he loses them to Horry County or to the medical.
So this lastly.
So he is slightly higher. He is higher than any other district.
So let me ask this lastly. So why aren't you at least equivalent to Dorchester County? You're almost there, but why didn't you at least match theirs?
As far as matching it, it would cause us to have to leave the structure they're at to go to another classification, which would jeopardize the integrity of the entire structure.
Okay, that's about
They're classified
$110.
correctly.
Okay.
You gotta figure out where to get the money from, right?
We got the money, just that it's still under them by about $110. Somebody could at least match it. Okay, but I understand what you're saying. You're tied by classification, and not by dollars.
Well, I think that we should never say that we're not tied by dollars, given the budget
Yeah, I'm about to say,
conversations we
that's
just
all
had.
about-
Well, and this, when they're talking about $110, we're not talking about dollars. Not a few $100 you're not.
All right, what other questions on this? And this will come forward at the next
Yes,
meeting.
we
for
were
vote.
voted at the board meeting.
All right, the next item up for the audit finance charter modification will come forward in executive session at our next meeting. Next item up is purchase cards for board members. Is there a motion to approve
Make
that?
a motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I want to ask a question. Are we approving the same language or something different now?
Let me see if we can get a second on that.
I don't know if we're talking the same language or
It's
something
the
that
second
changed.
reading.
I'll
Ms.
second.
Coates is second. All right, go ahead, Reverend Collins.
Then you can ask the
So let's
question.
see, because I see some other language, some other things here. I forgot the one, yeah.
Other from when?
Than the original language. I see the draft, I see BID.
From last month's board meeting?
Yes, it here, I think if I understand right, we're looking at amending BID and, hold on a minute. Yeah, I think we're looking at amending BID and DKC. Oh, something that I didn't see the original motion. I see the manual, but I don't see the original motion at all that we were working on. Actually, this is just talking about amending policies here. So that's kind of confusing to me.
So what you want is a copy of the
We should be
agenda from the last board
We should be
meeting.
voting on the original, one we approved last meeting.
Right.
And we can do these too, but we need to vote, but the original writing should be up here on the screen.
So
That we're voting
let's-
for.
Chris, she has it for you.
Okay, so now since it wasn't on the agenda, how do we get it on the agenda now?
I don't know that it's not the right language.
Oh.
I would ask you to compare it.
No, it's not the same thing we voted for last meeting. It's not the
What's
same
different,
thing.
Reverend Collins?
Yeah, what's different?
The one Kevin submitted, hold on a minute. This is not it. This is not what Kevin submitted.
Well, we're gonna have to
What
come up.
language are you looking for?
We're gonna
Yeah.
have to come up with a blueprint on
I
how.
said that what was submitted, what we voted on the last time, this is not it. This is the policy change here to BID, and I think I had these ones already right here in front of me.
So.
I'm saying, this is, what I'm saying is,
That's-
I know.
here's the language.
this is not really second reading the P card. This is amending policy, these two policies, what we're doing now.
Which is-
Now, I don't have a problem amending them, but this is not second reading the P card.
If you look at it, it
The
is.
first reading was
Not
motion
this
to
one.
revise policies, this is from the board meeting in February. Motion to revise policies BID and DKC for first reading to permit issuance of purchase cards.
That was the second part of the motion from last meeting.
That's
You
the
just
only,
read.
I'm reading the only motion from the last meeting.
Last meeting, we voted to approve the card limit set at $400, and also to amend the policies of BID and DKC.
Yes, I've pulled up the agenda from the last
So
meeting.
I'm asking, where's the language from the last meeting?
Oh, so instead
The
of saying,
original,
so you're saying that you would rather, instead of it saying approve second reading with modification regarding use of P cards, you want it to actually say this at the board
the
meeting?
same language from the last time, and then add this to it. So I said that wasn't listed on the agenda. So I'm just making sure we're not changing what we voted for before.
We're not changing,
No.
and I think that Eric will make sure the language is identical
You
to the
understand
prior
what
board
I'm
meeting.
saying? Right? Do you understand? I don't think you do.
Not quite, I don't.
Let me say it slower.
You do?
When Ms. Township presented the item for approval, we voted on last week, and then Ms. Darby said also that this was the part of the motion, we'd also amend these two policies. The original language that we voted for and approved last meeting, which had 5, 4, and 3 against, is not here.
Okay. Got it.
So now how do we put that here? Because it's not here. But we can say it, I guess we ought to be voting on that original language, that original motion, that would be second reading for that original language, and then we're amending this policy also.
No.
I have no idea.
All right, we'll clean it up come Monday. Go ahead.
All right, okay. So now I have a question.
All right, what's your question? Go ahead, Reverend Collins.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My question is,
No,
No.
that's the way to address.
So I think
Okay.
what is confusing is that in the material for today, there's a page called excerpts from the Charleston County School District
Yeah.
Procurement Card Program. That is not intended to be a policy amendment.
Right.
That's in your policy already.
Right.
You just want to make sure before you vote that you understand that your policy as written doesn't allow you to do what you described. For
Right.
example, number 10, so in the list that I summarized out of your procurement manual,
Mhm.
number 10, for example, says purchase cards may not be used for food purchase while on travel. That's what we live with as employees, but as board members, that would be a
Example.
good example of when you would want to use your purchase card is when you've gone out of the district on travel. So I'm just pointing out
Right, and
that
I saw
before
that.
you have second reading, you may have some additional changes you want to make.
Mr. Collins just got a question. Go ahead.
No, I talked to Ms. Darby, and we both are in agreement, Mr. Chair, I think we do need to convene a policy manual for how the board uses that
The board
blue card.
is on policies.
Yeah, how that's operate with, so we can just go ahead and get through this motion.
All right.
And then we just need to set up at your convenience of time, some writings that we can share back and forth on how it can be used as compliance with the district and with the state.
Okay.
Okay, so
Max,
to-
hold on.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Okay, all right.
So I have
go.
to make sure, so what we're approving then is the language of DKC.
We don't want to do
The
that.
amended language, right?
You're not approving, it's exactly what you approved.
No, the amended right here, this is what we're approving, the amendment, right?
Yeah,
The DKC, the amendment, that's what we're
Call the
approving.
question.
Right, we're not approving this, we're not approving this.
Question's been called. If everybody would please vote.
Yeah, all right, but hold on, let's make sure we're on the right page now, that's
Let's
all.
hold it.
Yeah, the thing is, so we understand that that's what we're voting for, we're voting for this. We're voting for this, to change in the policy to allow board members to have cards, that's what we're voting for now. We're not voting to approve this here, that service. But you understand, that's important, you understand that?
I'm not worried about it. You the one having a fit.
Yeah, because I know what I'm doing, that's
If you
why.
want to hear any more about it, it's $43,000 a year if we all get $400, which is a teacher, just saying.
Go ahead.
I don't want to put that
Just
with
waiting on your
teachers, so
vote.
I don't want to wrap that up
Wrap
with
it up.
that. We do a lot of other stuff outside
Or
of.
anything else for kids.
How much
The
it cost?
next item up
Yeah,
is, are all the votes in? Who are you waiting on?
Reverend Matt.
Okay.
You said Reverend Matt? Yeah, I mean, I already voted. I voted yes, but.
All right, you want me to?
Yeah, you can put it in.
Okay,
Our
done.
computers are dropping the internet. I had to re-log in twice.
I had to re-log in too.
Okay. All right, the next item up is public comments. Are there any members of the public here for public comment?
I think you got somebody there. Yeah.
Please, if you'll step up to the podium, please.
That would do it. Okay.
Good evening, Board and Superintendent. I'm here on behalf of the National Action Network Education Committee. As you know, I've been following the board's activity for years, and I'm here to speak on behalf of some changes, perhaps before the budget process. You've changed Hersey from a traditional school to Montessori to accommodate parents moving across the street in the new development. You've changed Murray the Same from a traditional school to a Montessori school, once a predominantly black school that scored better statewide in 2011 than it did in 2017. Even now with the 62.5% white population, they are performing below 2011 standards, and 100% of students are on free and reduced lunch. You fought to prevent the establishment of a high-tech school at Rivers, and when you finally gave in, you divided the school with a greater usage going to the math science charter, where their students entered through the front door and the high-tech through the back door. Garrett, you voted to close Garrett, a predominantly black school, tech school, that was performing high in the nation. You closed Lincoln, and those students were bused to Wando. These are just a few examples of your biased decisions. But as with Murray the Same, and as you can see, you can't hurt one group of students without hurting the others. Now you're voting to close Prestige. Granted, Prestige does have problems, but their problems are not insurmountable, and not all are self-inflicted. Given the right support from this board, this program can be an exemplary program. When Ms. Coleman came to you with the plans for this all-boys school, she didn't come with the all-black boys school. She came with an all-boys school, inclusive of any students who wanted to attend. So when you fail to act responsibly, you become a part of the problem. There are many all-boys schools around this nation that's performing very, very good. And they've saved a lot of boys. When any of our students fail, we fail as parents, we fail as superintendent, we fail as board members, and we fail as this community. Merging and closing poor performance schools is not the answer. What will solve our problem is that we put aside our bias and that we treat all students alike. And as you can see, we're still on the bottom. And it's time for us to rise to the top. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is we put aside our biases, we think about our students, because that's what you're charged to do. Educate all students alike. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And who else do we have? If you'll please stand and come on up to the podium if there's any other members of the public. Is there anybody else after this lady? Okay.
Good afternoon, I'm Madonna Colston, also representing Prestige Preparatory Academy. Wanted to share some good news with you all. In the winter, our kindergarten students were assessed on the Fast Bridge Assessment, which takes a look at their reading and math skills and compares them to other students their age and in their grade level. And we are very excited to report that 100% of our kindergartners scored in the 85th percentile or better on their math assessment. And on the reading assessment, 60% of them scored in the 85th percentile or better. So most of them are actually, they've already exceeded their year-end growth target. And we're only at the winter assessment, so we can't wait to see what they do in the spring. And we hope that they will have a school to come back to next year with us so they can keep on the success train. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good.
All right.
Good evening.
Evening.
I am here because I have seen many articles and newspapers and news reports on TV concerning the disparity of education in South Carolina between the predominantly white schools and predominantly black schools, for lack of a better way to mention it, just to bring it to the point. Having attended a predominantly white school before mandatory integration was enforced, I learned a lot. I learned that more money was funneled into the formerly white segregated schools. The white schools got new school books while black schools received the used damaged books. There were corporate sponsors for white schools that black schools didn't have. They were allowed more field trips, math and science material for hands-on teaching, learning, and scientific experiments. A small group, about 28 of us, went to the predominantly white school before there was mandatory integration. And we had to learn how to survive among people who did not like us just because of the color of our skin. Until this day, this very day, I still don't understand why you, the school board, and every other board in South Carolina are having trouble understanding what needs to be done to make education equal in the state. Brown and black people have always known. We've always known, and you have too, but you just won't admit the truth. While you're spending needless tax dollars on studies and surveys for answers, the solution is very simple. First, each one of you must be honest with yourself. This may be the hardest part of all, because you will have to admit to yourself why you truly believe that white students deserve better schools, better teachers, better opportunities, and better everything than black and brown students who haven't had a level playing field in their lives since desegregation. Then the solution becomes easy. provide all students with the same opportunities. And stop trying to hide what you're doing and have been doing forever. Trying to dumb down black and brown students so they will feel less than powerful, less valuable than white students. We must stop supporting white flight by allowing the opening of more charter, Montessori, academic magnet, all different types of schools. We had better teachers who were loving and caring when we were segregated. They weren't teaching us because they had to or because they wanted their student loans written off. There is room for all students to soar as long as you don't manufacture the chaotic turbulence our football winners. Do the right thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item up is the support of the fee and lieu legislative changes.
Do we have the language of the
Yeah,
bill?
it's a measure.
We do, it's in the
Yeah, I
package.
saw it.
What, I don't get a
It's
packet.
the last page, the last item.
Yeah.
The link doesn't, I can't link it. Yeah.
Can you
It
vote?
follows the
I'm sorry.
draft letter,
Can you vote?
Mrs. Carey.
Yes,
Oh, I'm
yes,
sorry, I
we
didn't
don't.
get down far enough.
Scroll.
I got it,
Right,
I'm
yeah,
Use the
fine.
restroom.
Okay, is there a motion
So
in
what-
favor or?
So this is for us to approve the superintendent writing a
There you go.
letter of support. I found that one. I'm so sorry.
I move, Todd, for approval.
Second.
All right. All in favor if you'll vote now?
Sheila, I think I
Come up on the
was offline,
screen.
so I think I'm back on.
I'm sorry?
I think I
No,
was
the vote
offline.
not?
Yeah.
No.
What happened?
I said I was offline, that's why I couldn't get my vote.
Yeah. Are you online now? Okay. Now I'm waiting on Mr. Garrett. Yeah.
Okay,
Mr. Garrett?
yes, I just voted.
You did, thank you.
My only editorial comment, I think a lot of these things are done so quickly and they're so secretive. I imagine that it's going to be very difficult for this to be practical in reality, as far as back briefing us in a timely manner, for them to also try to get a deal done, so for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's why I was pretty adamant that it's at the county level. I don't know that Charleston County ought to be entering into fee and lieu with breweries in Park
Yeah,
Circle.
yeah.
I'm not talking about
Yep.
states competing for large-scale
Right,
employers.
yep,
I'm talking about Firefly doesn't pay taxes in my city because of the county.
yep. All right. And with, we have no other items on the agenda, so we will, is there a motion to adjourn? All right, all in favor, aye?